Howdy folks, this is Willis again, and we're going to make this better. This is the wiring of the float sensors with pulling the wire through the channel drain and setting the wire and into grooves in the expansion joints. What we're going to do is we're going to run the wire along this expansion joint, along this channel drain, 1.5-inch channel drain, down across the expansion joint. It's going to groove the expansion joint on the side. It's got a nice decorative filler, but we'll cut a little channel on the side, drop the wire into that, and then put some Silkaflex sealant along that to seal it in. And then we're going to run the wire along the base of the house here, again sealing it in with some silicone, then run the wire up the pipe here, and then along with the other sprinkler valve wire into the timer box. Now on the other side, we're going to run in the channel drain, and then here's the long run in the expansion joint out to the skimmer area, and then the wire is going to go under the skimmer area, and the sensor box is going to sit in the drain area here. So let me show you the sensor box revised. Here are the float sensors, and filled the bottom of the box with decorative mosaic tile that I got at Home Depot. Was looking for marbles, couldn't find marbles, but figured that these little square glass tiles would do the trick. Cut the wires off short at the top, tied the two sensors in series, and left pigtails at the end so that we'll wire the sensor into the 18 gauge solid paired speaker wire that we've got here. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to use the oscillating saw to cut little slots in the grid of the channel drain. We've already got some broken here, so I'm going to take advantage of those broken bits and snake from here over to the end down there, and then snake from here down to that end. The reason I have to do that is what I'm going to use as a snake is 20-foot drum auger, and the channel here is very deep, but there's probably a bunch of debris in it, so I have to use something more solid and stiff than the wire or just Romex to snake through. So I figured that this would do the trick, but it's only a 20-footer, so it's not quite long enough to make the whole run in one go. So we'll get started by pulling things apart and cutting slots in the channel. All right, what we're going to do to try to snake this wire on through is use this 20-foot drum auger that I got from Ace Hardware a long time ago, and I've pulled it out, and it's 20 feet is indeed long enough to run the whole length of this. I decided to use this instead of, say, Romex because it's a bit stiffer, and there's probably a bunch of debris in this channel. Now I'm going to cut slots in the appropriate places with the oscillating saw, and then hopefully run this all the way down, grab it with this flexible grabbing tool that's got a nice little set of jaws that will grab the end of the auger, and then pull the end through. Then we're going to tape the wire that we need to pull through to the auger, and then hopefully get this all the way through in one go. So that's the plan. What we're going to do now is cut the holes for access in the 1.5-inch channel drain. All right, use eye protection when you're using power tools. Always a good thing. Here we go. All right, very quick. I believe that this is PVC. There we are. And what we'll do is we're going to go to this side here, so make a little groove in the side here, a little notch. So what I'm doing now is I'm grooving out the side of the strip where I'm going to run the wire. There we are. So we've got a nice deep groove that runs from the channel. All right, we've got a nice deep groove which runs from the channel opening all the way to the wall. We're going to do that on the other side as well. It'll be noisy and loud and don't really need to see that, so I'm just going to go do it. All right, folks, we're going to snake the auger down from the far end to the near end, and the reason is tried snaking it from the other side up here and ran into a blockage that I couldn't get through just by pushing. Now on the far side there are some holes already in the cover just from wear and tear, so presumably I can figure out how to get through that way. Now immediately I run into something sort of tough here, so it's easier to fight it from this side. It's more of a direct push. Okay, now we're through. Now I know we need almost all of the auger in order to reach the far side, the far port. We're getting there pretty smoothly. A little blockage, but now we're through again. And I think that we should have enough auger here to be on the other side. So what we'll do is we'll take a look and make sure that the auger has made it all the way through to the other end of the channel. And I can see and feel the auger, yes. Alrighty. So, excellent. So now what we're going to do is we're going to sort of back this out little by little until I can just see the end. Actually, what we'll try doing is just use the grabber to grab the auger and sort of, so we can sort of use this as an indicator as to how far back we're pulling. So I'm going to, the goal is to get the end of the auger, the tip of the auger, and actually I can work it on back just by grabbing it and sort of easing it on back this way. And look at that, got the end. All right, so we're through. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to tie the wire to the end and snake it on through. And by tying, I mean taping. So I'm going to clean this end off a little bit because I'd be ashamed to have to do it all over again, which I have done in the past. And we're going to really tape this on with black electrical tape. Now, I always use the 3M black electrical tape. I have bought inexpensive, i.e. cheap electrical tape in the past, and have found through over many years that it pays to buy the 3M electrical tape because it doesn't get sticky or goopy when you use it. Now I'm going to wrap the wire back upon itself in order to make sure that the wire just doesn't slip out from under the tape. And put a whole bunch more turns on here. Unfortunately, I've gotten turned around inside out. The idea is to make sure that this wire isn't going to go anywhere, and that it's a fairly slim bundle, and I don't think she's going to go anywhere. So what I'm going to do now is lay the wire out behind me so it doesn't catch on anything. And we're going to pull the auger through from the other side. All right, there's a little catch there. Should have fed that in, actually. And the wire came through fine. There is definitely a bunch of dirt down over in this area. There was a bunch of resistance, but we pulled it on through, and the wire is here. It's dirty, but she's on through. So I'm going to pull enough through to make sure that I get to the end of the skimmer area. And this is more than enough wire to reach the skimmer, and have a little slack, a little extra. And what we'll do now is take the wire off the end and tuck it in and run the wire under the deck here, and have the float valve box to attach to the end. All right, so now we've got the wire sitting in the groove extending from the channel drain along the expansion joint. It's tucked into the side of the skimmer basin. Then we're going to come out here and attach the wires to the end of the leads in the float box. Now, I don't have that much slack on the wires, so we're gonna have to sort of get down in the water to do this. And since this is just 24 volts AC, there's no risk of electrocution or any electrical issues when this is running. So we're all safe. That's why they use this voltage for irrigation timers. For the irrigation system, because it's safe to bury in the ground. Getting different positions to do this kind of work is part of the job. All right. have a really great grip on that wire there. Try tightening a little more. All right, should do the trick. Now just tuck the wire nuts into the top of the box, run the wire out the groove that I made on the back side, and tuck the box into the skimmer channel, skimmer inlet channel. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll show you what it looks like tucked in place. All right, guys, managed to cut the video off as I was taking the camera off the tripod. So here's what the float box looks like, float sensor box looks like in place. So there is a wire that runs across, and I'll try to tuck that up against the underside of the channel so that it stays out of the way. But that will be a little sort of final finishing project. Okay, let's work on the far side. Howdy folks, this is the timer, the sprinkler timer side of the installation. And so we've come up through the grid, and we've got the wire coming along here and running along the edge of the house. What I'll do is I will run a bit of caulk over that to seal it in place. The wire's pretty straight. And then I'm gonna run the wire up along the sprinkler valve wire, and then run into the timer box itself. Happily, the wire is just long enough. I must have lived a good life or not hacked off the gods in some way in a previous life, because the wire is just long enough. Now what we're going to do is hook it up to the rain sensor inputs. And these are non-polarized, so it doesn't matter which way you hook them up. And I'll try hooking this one in first. All the way in, grabbed, yes, okay. And hook this one up. And it's actually time for the timer to run. It's 5 p.m., which is what I've set the timer to start at. And the float valves are in the, both of them must be in the down position. So water's coming in. I heard the valve turn on. And we will see if she turns off. And there we are. It is autofill. 6 minutes left on the timer, so that's how it works. And let's check the level. Level's perfect, halfway up the tile. All right, guys, we made it better. I'll take a video of the finished caulk seams to show how the wire looks tucked in next to the expansion joints, but we're pretty darn near done. All right, we're going to lay in the caulk for the wire running on the sprinkler side of the sprinkler timer side of the system, and I'm using Sika Flex Select Construction Sealant in white. So we're going to use that, and then a little DAP caulk smoothing tool. So we'll put a bead in, not too much, but filling the void. Okay. There. And smooth it on out and get rid of the excess. off the excess there. Try to get rid of as much of the overflow. And it's looking pretty nice. Just clean that little bit up there. There we are. Okay. Thanks for watching.